Hello my loves and welcome to the Perfume Realm. My name is Madeline and today I'm going to be sharing with you 10 spring fragrances in my collection. But before we get started, I just wanted to say if you're interested in joining the realm, I highly suggest clicking the subscribe button as well as the bell notification so you can stay up to date on everything that is happening here. Now let's jump into the video. Okay, so right before I share the fragrances with you, I do want to tell you guys kind of the criteria that I kept in mind when picking out these fragrances. Now for me in the spring in Chicago, it's kind of up and down when it comes to the weather. Sometimes it gets heated up really quickly, but often kind of deep into the spring months, it's still quite cold or a little bit chilly at least. So for me, spring as the precursor to summer is warmer but not summer heat warm. So the fragrances that I'm choosing are lighter than the ones that I typically wear in the fall or the winter, but they still are a little bit more substantial than the fragrances that I typically go for in the summer, which are very light. For example, Terracotta from Guerlain is one of the fragrances I love to wear in the summer because it is gorgeous, but it's also very lightweight and not cloying whatsoever. I also tried to show a little bit of diversity in this category. You know, in The Devil Wears Prada, Meryl Streep says famously, this famous quote, "Florals for spring, groundbreaking." Now, I'm not Meryl Streep, I'm not a good actress, but that's what she says because the typical thing that we all think of is florals for spring. So I do have a few of those in this list, but a lot of them are a little bit different from the typical floral fragrance. Just to kind of spice things up a little bit, like I said, add a little bit of diversity, especially for those who might not love floral fragrances. I also tried to show a little bit of a range in the prices for the fragrances that I'm going to share. So we have some higher end niche, but also some really affordable options too. So let's get started with the first fragrance. All right, so the first fragrance that I'm going to share is from Masque Milano, and this one is called Madeline. Now this scent I did an entire 5-minute review on, and that's going to be going up in a little bit. I'm pretty sure I'll be editing for this video first, so you're going to see this one first, but I'm not going to go in depth because I really broke it down in that video for you. But essentially this is a gorgeous chestnut and whipped cream fragrance. So this is a gourmand scent, and for those of you who adore gourmand fragrances, this is a great way to wear gourmand when the weather is starting to warm up a little bit, because one of the biggest fears with gourmands can often be that they could be very cloying in the heat or in warmer weather. They're often very warm and cozy fragrances. You know, that's not a hard and fast rule, but you know, typically I could say that maybe 75% of gourmands kind of fall into that category. I just pulled that number from my head. It's not an actual statistic, but that's generally what I think. So this scent, for those of you who love a beautiful gourmand, it is so unique. It is incredibly unique, but it also wears quite light. Like, it's there, it's present, but it's not a very heavy cloak of a gourmand. This one definitely wears very light. There is that whipped cream factor in here. So the chestnut comes through with this beautiful nuttiness, but then there is the whipped cream. There's very interesting notes like cumin in here as well as geranium. There's cypress in here, and there's also milk in here. Milk is one of my favorite notes in fragrances, but again, often a more lactonic and creamy fragrance can be a bit cloying or a bit more heavy than what I typically enjoy wearing in the spring. Not in this case. The milk in here really just kind of falls in line with that beautiful whipped cream note. There's truly a very whipped cream effect in here, both in texture as well as in the scent. It really embodies that whipped cream factor with that chestnut. Those are the two kind of star notes in this, and again, kind of stay tuned for the more in-depth review for this, but I am a huge fan of this one, and I personally think that I'm going to get a lot of use out of this in the spring. All right, so next up, this perfume has kind of jump shot to the top of my collection. It is just so striking and beautiful to me, and it is Eric Buterbaugh's Regal Tuberose. Now, this fragrance, I don't even know how to explain how gorgeous this is. So this is a tuberose fragrance, but there's nothing indolic in here. As much as I love indole, the entire reason that this fragrance works for me is the lack of the indole in here. This is a white floral fragrance without that indolic nature to it, which makes it very unique for me. You would be fearful that without the indole, perhaps the white floral would fall flat, but not in Regal Tuberose. Oh my God, is it Regal for sure. I'm going to read you the notes because the notes are actually quite interesting for this one. So there's grapefruit, white pepper, papyrus, tuberose, jasmine, patchouli leaf, musk, oak moss, and amberwood. So it's a very interesting note pyramid. I would say that I do get this kind of watery but not watered down floral fragrance from here. So it definitely has this kind of aquatic nature to it in a way, but without using any actual aquatic notes. So I find that very impressive. Another thing is, for being such a fresh and uplifting floral fragrance, it lasts a very, very long time without being cloying, without being heavy. It has just superb longevity, which is a huge thing for me in spring and summer fragrances, because I feel like often they are just not strong enough, or I don't know, they're just not powerful enough often for them to really have amazing longevity, projection, and sillage, like all three of them. And this one does have all three. To me, you can smell the white florals. You can also kind of smell this green element to it as well. Maybe as if the leaves are still attached to the white floral. It's not too sweet, but it does have the beautiful, pleasant sweetness of the florals in here, but it's not very, very sweet. The grapefruit and white pepper in the opening just sparkle. It really sparkles. It reminds me of the kind of sparkling reflection you will see on water, you know, when the water is kind of I don't know, bobbing in and out, and you can kind of see light reflecting off the water. That kind of sparkling nature is in the opening, and I believe it comes from the grapefruit as well as that white pepper. And then immediately it really gives way to this beautiful floral heart. I'm just so impressed with this fragrance, and I'm really shocked that I can't really find many people talking about this at all. It's available at Saks, so I'm not really sure why it's kind of gone under the radar. It's been here for a few years, and now I'm really interested in exploring the rest of the house because this one was just incredible. And the bottle itself is so feminine and chic. I absolutely love it. So this is Eric Buterbaugh's Regal Tuberose. All right, next up I have another big love of mine. I say that for most of the fragrances, but you know, my collection is specially curated, so most of the fragrances I'm very passionate about. I don't even keep that many that are so. Most of them that I regularly wear or reference are ones that are definitely in the favorite category of mine. So here we have another beautiful gourmand, and also another gourmand that kind of wears a little bit more light. So this is straight up an apple pastry type of a scent. There's a juicy red apple in the opening that starts off very fresh and aromatic, just beautiful, fresh, crisp apple type of a smell. To me, I feel like I smell both the green apple and red apple, although only red apple is listed. So the apple is sweet enough to be that red apple, very juicy and sweet, like a beautiful bright red apple. But then the green apple, that kind of tartness that a green apple has, I do feel like I can pick up on that tartness in this perfume, although it is not listed. But in the opening, the apple is very crisp and fresh. And then when you spray it on your arm, I always like to say that when this hits your skin, it starts to warm up, and it's as if you are baking the actual apple pie. So you're combining all of the different elements, all of the different notes, and it starts to bake and really starts to warm up a little bit, and more the apple starts to smell a little bit more cooked. It's really kind of becoming caramelized in the, you know, heat, and there's the cinnamon in here. There is this beautiful coconut note. To me, the coconut really comes out more of a pastry type of smell. That sounds ridiculous because coconut and pastries are so different, but the coconut adds something, I don't know, it adds something really beautiful and sweet and bakery about it. This beautiful coconut, it kind of gives it this interesting type of sweetness. Of course, there is plenty of vanilla in here. This is, after all, an apple pastry, so there's a ton of that cinnamon and vanilla. There's also cedar, so the cedar provides the perfect amount of woodiness to kind of take away from that, you know, purely foodie scent and really turn it into more of a perfume. And then it's just completely filled up with this gorgeous white musk, a sweet white musk, and that really kind of adds a lift and aerates the entire fragrance, so it's very easy to wear. It's a little bit more airy. To me, it's almost like you were passing by a bakery window, or like, you know, someone's home, they just baked a fresh apple pie and they left the fresh apple pie on the windowsill and the window is open, so you're walking past it and you get this kind of waft of beautiful apple pastry type of a scent. It's not purely this concentrated apple strudel type of a thing. There's this airiness, so it really smells more like you're walking past this beautiful dessert and kind of getting a little breeze with that sweet smell in it. So I do think that this one is perfect for the spring. It's just, I think it's a very, very cheerful pick-me-up type of a perfume, and to me it's a little bit too light for me to wear in the fall and the winter. I still will, but I naturally just gravitate towards a lot more of a heavy fragrance in the fall and winter. In fact, in the fall and winter, when I feel like I'm kind of tired of wearing really heavy scents, I will reach for this one because of it being a little bit more lighter and brighter for me. So this is a gorgeous scent for the spring. All right, up next we have Delina La Rosee. Now, the reason that I put this one on the list is because this is quite sweet. It's very sweet, almost a little jammy, like not super duper jammy, but very sweet and kind of thick. Although there is this kind of watery aspect to it, in no way is it diluted or watered down. To me, it's not a very sheer fragrance for me. It's more sheer in comparison to Delina or Delina Exclusive, of course, and still it's not like super heavy or anything like that. But it's not like the terracotta from Guerlain that I mentioned in the beginning. It's not something I would wear in the extreme heat. This is definitely something I would wear more in the springtime. So it has that beautiful kind of floral aspect. At the same time, it has this beautiful sweetness. It is paired with the lychee. And also, I'm not going to go too in depth about this because I have a very, very deep dive review strictly on this perfume already posted on my channel. So if you want to check it out, if I remember to link it, I'll put it down in the description box. Otherwise, you can definitely find it. It's just a few videos back, but I really did go in depth with this one and kind of compared it to both Delina as well as Delina Exclusive. Kind of talked about which ones I love the most and the composition and all of that. So you can definitely check out that video, but I do think that this is a wonderful fragrance for the spring, and I do think that it's going to get a lot of use out of me during the spring. All right, next up we have a newer fragrance to my collection. This one is Un Jardin Après la Monsoon. I know I'm saying that wrong. I know I'm saying that wrong. Please do not crucify me down in the comments. Let me try it again actually, so you guys can say that I gave it a true effort. Un Jardin Après la Monsoon. Hopefully that sounded a little bit better. But this is from Hermès, and oh my god, this is so beautiful. So this one I found after looking for a scent that kind of reminded me of petrichor, which is the smell of nature after a heavy rainfall or any rainfall. This scent, the name, first of all, let me tell you the translation, means a garden after the monsoon, and it is a spot-on name. This to me smells like kind of this orchard that has vegetables and fig trees and just all this kind of vegetation, a very, very lush and rich kind of orchard garden type of a situation. And this garden is completely trapped in this humid, thick heat after the monsoon. So yeah, to me this definitely has this gorgeous water note in it, but it also has this kind of vegetal note in it as well. It has fig in here, it has ginger and ginger flower. There's also cardamom in here, there is vetiver, and there's also coriander. So there is something a little, it's not bitter, but it's kind of a lack of sweetness in this perfume. There's this slight infusion of florals that kind of add a touch of sweetness as well as the kind of citrus. But to me, it definitely has more of this kind of vegetal smell to it that is trapped in this really, really warm aquatic note. So this scent is just perfect for the spring because it screams kind of new life and lushness and vegetation and all of that. It's also quite dense. To me, it's the kind of density that very, very humid air has. So it's not dense such as like a solid, but dense as in a very thick and heavy weighted type of air. So to me, again, this might be a little bit too much in the extreme heat. I mean, it could easily be worn in the extreme heat, but I know that I would reach for this a lot more in the springtime. I'm someone who gets very, very hot very quickly. So in the summer, I really like the most refreshing and light type of scents possible. But that's just me. And when it comes to wearing fragrances according to season, obviously there are no rules. I don't know why people get like so hung up on, oh my god, she said that this was a winter scent or a fall scent, and then like make a big deal about it, because I'm just telling you the things that I would wear during these seasons. This is my natural urge to go for more lighter fragrances in the hotter weather and warmer and thicker fragrances in the fall and winter. That's just me. That's what I like. If you like to wear really, really heavy fragrances in the summer, good for you. That's awesome. Like, there's no hard and fast rule, but I personally do have a certain type of taste in different types of weather. All right, so the next fragrance I have is Acqua di Gio from Giorgio Armani. This scent is in a way similar to the previous fragrance from Hermes, not so much because of the smell at all, but because of the effect that it gives me of this kind of more humid air slash aquatic vibe. Now this one is not vegetal to me. This one is far sweeter than the Hermes fragrance. Let me read you the notes for this one. So this scent starts off with mint as well as Amalfi lemon. So it's a very invigorating, bright and sweet opening. It is definitely kind of a sugary lemon, like a sugared lemon. So there is the zestiness, a little bit of the sourness, but definitely a lot of sweetness in there. And then there's that bright minty kind of opening as well with the mint note coming through. I definitely get the pink pepper in the middle. It kind of keeps this from going too sweet because there is a sweet jasmine as well as peony in here. So the pink pepper kind of gives it a little bit more of a balance. There's also brown sugar in here and cedar. There's no aquatic note listed. However, I definitely smell this kind of aquatic vibe in here, some kind of ozonic or marine note, but nothing is listed. I really do feel like I kind of get this water plant like seaweed or kelp or even like water lilies in this fragrance, as well as this really refreshing cucumber. But I think maybe the lemon and the mint are kind of interacting to create this kind of cucumber accord for me, but it just has that whole refreshing vibe and just really perfect for the springtime. All right, next up I have a dossier fragrance that was sent to me for review, and this one is Musky Green Tea. I decided to add it to this video because this definitely has a spring vibe to me. So let me kind of read you the information about this one. So the inspiration for this fragrance from Dossier is Creed Silver Mountain Water. Now, if you haven't heard about Dossier before, it's a company that sells fragrances that are inspired by more popular, expensive, iconic fragrances. And basically what the company aims to do is create high quality fragrances that come at a great price. So they are a lot more affordable than the fragrances that they are inspired by. And basically it's so everyone can kind of enjoy these beautiful creations without having to shell out insane amounts of cash, which I appreciate. Who doesn't love a good deal on a really beautiful perfume? I do wish the longevity was a little better because Creed Silver Mountain Water lasts a very long time on my skin, but I do think that they did a really good job in basically capturing the essence of Creed Silver Mountain Water, which is this green tea fragrance that has this kind of sparkling nature to it. It's very, very fresh. It's very, very bright, and it's just beautiful. I love Creed Silver Mountain Water. I typically wouldn't wear it. I do find it a little bit more masculine. This one, I feel like this actually is a little bit more unisex than the actual Silver Mountain Water. This one definitely feels a little bit more unisex to me, which I appreciate. Let me read you the notes really quick too. So the top notes are green tea, bergamot, and mandarin. The middle notes are petitgrain, neroli, and blackcurrant. The base notes are musk, sandalwood, and orris. So let me tell you the notes that I really do get. I do get the green tea, the bergamot, and the mandarin. I get the petitgrain. I also get the musk in here. Petitgrain has this kind of green but also a woody smell to it, and I love that they use the petitgrain in here. It definitely brings in that kind of woody kind of nuance that Silver Mountain Water has in it as well. I find this to be a very invigorating scent. I love the green tea note in here. I find it to be a very sparkling fragrance, and though the longevity of this one is not where the Creed fragrance is at, it's not horrible longevity, at least on my skin. It lasts about 5 hours, I would say. And for a springtime fragrance, I think that that's a very, very decent amount of time for it to last. And I do see myself actually reaching for this one during the springtime, so it's kind of perfect that they sent this to me. I would not say that it is a perfect dupe at all for Silver Mountain Water, but it definitely falls in the same category, and you can tell that the inspiration for this fragrance was Silver Mountain Water by Creed. So anyways, this is Musky Green Tea from Dossier. All right, next up, this one kind of shocked me that I reached for this one for this video, but I just am so excited for the weather to become a little bit warmer here so that I can wear this fragrance in particular. I have been reaching for this one a couple of times this past week, and I never reached for this one ever. So to me, it's saying that this is going to be a great spring fragrance. It is definitely not one that is new to anyone in the entire world. But here we have Chanel No. 5, the glorious, the iconic, the legendary Chanel No. 5. I never wear this one. The only reason I had this one was because I wanted to buy Chanel No. 5 while I was in Paris. I just thought it would be the perfect thing to buy. And the reason I chose Chanel No. 5 when I was in the store over there, I just feel like any perfume lover, an actual like perfume collector, or someone who wants to eventually build a really complete perfume collection, I just feel like this one you have to own. I really do. I think that this is just kind of one of those kind of poster child for perfume type of things. Like when someone thinks of perfume, they think of Chanel No. 5. And I never reached for it because I just never was super, I don't know, excited by it. But I've recently really been enjoying aldehydes. I typically am not a huge fan of them, but recently I've really been feeling them a lot. And I kind of like the fresh, a little bit of a soapy, clean nature to this fragrance. And the aldehydes just seem perfect to wear in the springtime. It's just really chic. It's a chic fragrance, and I can't believe I've always kind of been so like not into it, because I have recently just found so much beauty in this scent. So I personally will be wearing this one a lot this spring. Like I already know that I'm going to, because I already have been wearing it in anticipation for spring. But I had to add it in here because that's what I genuinely am planning on wearing. I apologize for giving you guys an option that isn't very unique or new, so it might not be super helpful, but maybe it'll kind of jog some of your memories who, you know, already own Chanel No. 5, or anyone else who kind of overlooks it a little bit. Maybe, you know, take a pause and kind of smell it, try it on. Maybe the beauty of it will be rekindled in your mind and you're gonna wanna wear it during the spring. And that, of course, just goes for the people who don't already adore this fragrance. So maybe give it another shot. I did, and I'm really excited for it to be part of my spring fragrance wardrobe. Okay, so on the Chanel note, I also decided to share this other fragrance that Dossier sent me, and this one is Oriental Oak Moss. This one is inspired by Coco Mademoiselle from Chanel, and the reason I decided to add this one to the list is because for those of you who aren't into Chanel No. 5 at all, even after I said try it out again and see if you love it, you tried it out again and you're like, no, I just cannot deal with this one, I don't like it. You know, Coco Mademoiselle, we all know it. It's another one of those major fragrances in the not only fragrance community, just like worldwide in general. It's a very, very popular fragrance, but it is quite expensive. It has that Chanel price tag with it. So I figured, why not share a fragrance that is at a fraction of the cost and kind of does the same thing as Coco Mademoiselle. So Coco Mademoiselle is heavier than Chanel No. 5 is, and it's a lot sweeter. I mean, it's a different fragrance altogether, but it still has this Chanel airiness about it. And the Chanel, to me, Chanel is just like, since they do the whole French chic thing, they really kind of do this kind of, you know, effortless type of vibe, which is the fragrance inspired by Coco Mademoiselle. So the top notes are bergamot, orange, and peach. The middle notes are jasmine, rose, and patchouli. And the base notes are oak moss, vanilla, and vetiver. So right away from the notes, you can tell that it is a lot more of a heavier fragrance. It's not super duper heavy. It still has, like I said, that kind of effortless Chanel feel to it, but it definitely has more of this feminine quality to it. It's sweeter. You know, Chanel No. 5 to me is like borderline unisex, and I know that most people will not agree with that. I think most people would say that it is feminine, but in my nose it definitely feels a lot more unisex, at least compared to Coco Mademoiselle. And hey, listen, I do break down fragrances in masculine, feminine, and unisex. That doesn't deter me from what I wear. There are a lot of masculine fragrances that I really love. Feminine, masculine, and unisex, it's such a big issue, you know, in the industry. And I do think it's probably an issue when people really like say, if it's masculine, a man has to wear it. If it's feminine, a woman has to wear it, and that's the way it breaks down. In my eyes, that really doesn't make any sense to me. The term feminine and the term masculine have their own qualities. I don't think that they have to be necessarily divided by gender. For example, there are men who are far more feminine than some women who are super, super masculine. That's just what they're into. They're more masculine. So if people are using the term masculine, feminine, and unisex to kind of divide who uses what, that doesn't make sense to me. But for me, it's very, very helpful hearing if something is unisex, feminine, or masculine, because there are certain characteristics that fall under each of these different kind of categories that help me understand ahead of time what the fragrance is going to smell like. Again, I don't care if a man wears the most feminine fragrance in the entire world. That's what he chose to wear. It doesn't matter to me. But I still will find that fragrance to be feminine. It doesn't take away from the guy's masculinity. It doesn't take away from your femininity. It doesn't take away from anything. It's just to categorize the fragrance and kind of help people understand. That's how it is for me, at least, okay? Okay, just had to say it because sometimes people kind of go into a tizzy, which I just had to say it, okay? Just had to say it. Now it's done. So anyways, Coco Mademoiselle. To me, Oriental Oak Moss kind of smells the same way as musky green tea smells to me when in relation to Creed Silver Mountain Water. This one, you can tell it's inspired by Coco Mademoiselle. You can see that they fall in the same category, but I do think that they are different fragrances for sure. Longevity, projection, and sillage are the same, but definitely another fragrance worth checking out. You know, Dossier, when they send you their fragrances, they also send a little sample of the fragrance, of the same fragrance that you ordered in the box. You can try it out, and if you didn't like it, you can return it to them. So that's kind of nice. It's kind of more of a risk-free option than having to commit to something without knowing if you're going to love it or not. So, you know, it's an interesting option, and if you want to expand your fragrance wardrobe and try a few things out, I think it's a fun company to try out. I've had a really good experience with them. I don't know if their shipping situation has gotten better or not, because I do know that they have had in the past delay issues with the shipping. It happened to me as well, but it's might have gotten better. As long as you keep that in mind, I think that the product that you're going to get is of really great quality. All right, so the last fragrance that I have to show is a new one to my collection. This is Trussardi Donna. So I was actually inspired to pick this up by a friend over on Instagram. Her handle is Perfume Therapy. If I remember to put it in the description box, I will, so you can check her out down below. She has a great page. But yeah, she was talking about this one, and she was talking about how Priyanka Chopra is always being complimented on how amazing she smells. And apparently this is the scent that Priyanka Chopra wears, and this is the one that all of the talk show hosts are like, oh my god, you smell incredible. So when I saw that, I decided to pick it up. Because who doesn't want to smell like someone who's just constantly being complimented on how amazing they smell? So I picked it up, and it's actually quite affordable. It's actually very, very affordable, surprisingly, and the quality is amazing. I'm really, really happy with this. It's an orange blossom fragrance. I adore orange blossom. There's also jasmine in here, so it's kind of more of a white floral, but you get that super sweet orange blossom that I love, but at the same time it's not overly heavy. There's also vanilla in here, there is cedar, there is patchouli, and this opens up with Amalfi lemon, so another really sweet, zesty, bright, lemony opening. I would say that although it smells stronger, like kind of doing a card test or like smelling it from the bottle, I would just say that on your skin it doesn't wear as heavy or as strong, but it's definitely there. It's not that it's a weak scent, it's actually, you know, pretty decent, but I'm just saying that if you do a card test, it's a lot stronger than when you put it on your skin. Like, it's a lot more strong. I actually like it a lot more on your skin though, because it rounds out. It's not as sharp as it is off a card, so definitely try it out on your skin if you're actually testing it out. But it rounds out to this really nice, sweet, white floral, orange blossom, sweet, yummy fragrance. I can definitely see a lot of guys complimenting a woman on this. It just kind of has that sweet yet alluring vibe to it. Like, it's not super goody gumdrops type of a sweetness. It has a little bit more of a sensual aspect to it, which is really nice. I think that the jasmine kind of brings out the sensuality, while the orange blossom really creates that sweet effect. So I've been enjoying it. It's affordable. The packaging is really nice and heavy, and so like great presentation, affordable price, and a really nice scent. Like, you can't go wrong, honestly. So anyways, this is Trussardi Donna, and I am so happy that I decided to pick this one up. I've also been wearing this one a lot as well. It's just, you know, kind of more mass appealing, and it's a really great easy reach fragrance. Quite versatile. You can dress it up, dress it down. It's great with jeans. It's also great, I can see, like in a dress. I haven't had a reason to kind of wear a dress anytime recently, but I can definitely see this being, you know, a great scent to dress up as well. All right, with that, that is going to wrap up my 10 fragrances for the springtime. I have some more spring fragrances, so I might do another video if you guys are interested who knows? But yeah, anyways, I did get my hair done again recently, so I just wanted to talk about it because I'm so happy with how it turned out. They went a few shades darker than my natural hair, just a little bit darker. They added a gloss, and then she also did these kind of milk chocolate ribbons through my hair to add a little bit of dimension and pizzazz, which I love. It's actually a new stylist for me. My old one like moved pretty far out, so this is a new one, and I really think that she killed it. I'm so happy with how it turned out. She also did the kind of fringe curtain bangs with the face framing highlights. And then we did a keratin treatment. I'll talk to you guys about how it turned out after I do like my first wash, because it's called the, I think, Cezanne keratin treatment or something. I did the like 8-week version, not the long one, just because I wanted to see how it goes. It doesn't have any like really harsh chemicals, none of the formaldehyde or anything, so I'm not really sure how much it's going to take to my hair, but it took so long for her to do everything, so I really do hope that it actually ends up working. It's more of a smoothing treatment rather than a pin straight keratin treatment, because my hair is naturally like it's not curly, it's like wavy in a way. It can become quite defined waves at times depending, but overall it's very naturally frizzy, puffy, big hair. So I really wanted to control it a little bit, so I'm hoping the smoothing keratin treatment actually worked, but we will see. Thank you guys so much for sharing your valuable time with me here today as we sit and chat about perfume. I really hope you guys are doing well. That's all I have for you guys. Have a good one. Bye.